Welcome, Deep Space Nine at Nine-ish. We are here again. It's episode season 3, episode 23, Family Business. It's all about Quark and Moogie and Rom, but really it's all about Sisko because Sisko has all the great one-liners in this one. Yes, Moogie. This one's all about saving people, hunting things, the family business. And Paprikash, because for some reason Sisko, a man from New Orleans, likes Hungarian food, which is
only when he's in a good mood.
But only when he's in a good mood. But we'll get all to that. The voice in the heavens, that is my producer here, Dave Mader. We'll bring him on in.
Hello, Jeff. Good evening.
Dave, welcome. We're here to break everything down. Moogie and Paprikash, are you ready?
I'm ready.
That's fantastic.
I'm glad I'm glad you think it's fantastic, Ben. Okay, let's also bring in Jaemeel Robinson. We'll do a little prayer about for Jaemeel Robinson. How are you?
All right, and yourself?
Good. Ready to break down everything Ferengi?
Yes.
And Cassidy Yates.
Don't forget,
Cestus Comet.
Baseball, Jaemeel. Baseball. I didn't know anyone else liked it.
He's doing something called sliding into second.
I know that's how he picks it up. Like he's like, "Oh, that sounds like a baseball."
That sounds like
thing.
baseball.
That's what Sisko's going to be doing later.
That's what he's going to be doing later. But I don't think the third base coach is waving you in. So I think you'd be okay. But last but not least, back to the podcast, intact, the tag team couple, the Millards. Ding, ding, ding. How are you?
Yes.
Mostly.
Had a bit of a Yaris, a hiatus, but they're back now. And on no better an episode than when Sisko is making Paprikash, and he only makes that when he's in a good mood. And that's how we start this episode here with the Paprikash and Jake trying desperately to carry on from last week's episode and trying to set up his father with a woman. He hasn't been on a date in like months. He's trying to get his dad some action. He doesn't care about the Paprikash. He cares about his dad.
Paprikash.
Okay, I didn't say it right. I'm sorry. Yeah, he does a lot of those. Okay, so I think it's appropriate here. Kevin, Ashley, first question. Why does he cook Hungarian food, one, when he's in a good mood, or at all? It makes no sense. Why Hungarian food?
I make Hungarian food, and I'm not Hungarian. Hungarian food is delicious.
I didn't say it had to be Hungarian, but it's like, it's just strange. I didn't see it coming. It's coming out of left field. Another baseball.
He loves all cuisines, and by the 24th century, there had been a huge Hungarian influence in New Orleans that we were unaware of. But it's coming.
It's coming. It's going to take maybe 100 years. But once it happens,
if they put that into canon now,
just
because of that one episode.
There's going to be a Hungarian movement, Hungarian cuisine.
One character is like, let's go to New Orleans. I could really go for some goulash.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It can happen. They have the best goulash in New Orleans, Jeff.
They could,
but they also killed baseball.
Yeah,
they also killed baseball, and they brought in Hungarian food. I mean, weirder things could happen. Jaemeel, what is your take on the whole Jake angle trying to get Sisko a date?
Thank God that he did. Otherwise, there would be nothing worth mentioning in this episode.
Oh, you didn't like the Moogie stuff? Well, we haven't got to that yet, but
no.
Okay.
Dave. Yes.
Dave, what about you? How much do you love Moogie and Rom and the whole? Do you like these Ferengi episodes? Do you look forward to rewatching them?
No. Yes. So, like, they are. I don't hate them, okay, but I don't look forward to them so much, and as a rewatch, they have sort of a value. I don't know, like I'm not as into. But coming back to it, this rewatch, I was kind of thinking to myself, I can't believe they did this. You know, it was like season 3 of this Star Trek show, and we're gonna have a family drama with Ferengis, and more than that, it was like how much they leaned into this idea of the Ferengi having this very different culture in so many ways. And yes, there's Moogie, who's like, you know, she's fighting the system, and she's fighting for her rights and things like that. But she's fine. She's fine with certain aspects of the society and as well, and clearly. And so there's including the profit motive and things like that. And so it was just so strange. You know, she's sharpening Rom's teeth. There's just the whole nudity thing and the chew sticks and
I mean, I don't think they could get away with an episode like this today on primetime TV. You know, even I just think there's people would like on Twitter would just lose their minds over the offensiveness of it, and you know, and it is offensive.
Well, of all these characters, Quark is the one who's like the most, and he's consistent throughout the show, the most conservative, clearly in like his Ferengi values.
But we're supposed to sympathize kind of the most with him, in a way.
Well, he's the biggest character. Right, of like the others are all guest stars, so he's the only main cast.
Right,
so the story's kind of his, right? And the rest of them are supporting orbits, but you know, it's right from the beginning. He's saying like, why does Nog want to go to Starfleet? Dumb, you know, it's where it starts. He's gonna want to be, you know, he wants
to be a human.
He wants to be a human, and so like. This is a part of Quark's character that the writers and Armin Shimon they lean in on, and they never wavered, really. You know, like he already had that whole experience with Pell. Was that season 1 or 2? You know, the woman Ferengi wore the fake lobes, and she was done up as a male. So like this issue has come up before, and it's clearly like now even knowing who his mother is, I think it gives this whole other context to his character, right? Like his mother's not a conservative woman, but he's a conservative man.
And she more raised him than they really get into Quark's father in this episode and who he was, and he's more like Rom. He's more like the bumbling kind of bad businessman, and could never really hack it in the Ferengi world.
Yes,
and
that's my favorite part of the episode. My favorite part of this whole episode was the fight with Rom when Rom stands up to Quark, because it's just like this whole it felt real. It was like, no, our family's fucked up and dysfunctional, and like a lot of other families, right? So we got issues and things we can't admit to ourselves, and you know, so it's really interesting. But I think I more enjoyed the Cisco Casty Yates storyline actually on the rewatch, surprisingly.
Well, it's kind of the genesis of it. I mean, they kind of brought it up last episode, but really, this is the episode where she gets introduced, and we get the baseball angle and why he starts to like her. But we will get it. Like, do you guys want to kind of? Yeah, let's get into a little bit of the Cisco stuff here. Okay, what do you make of like this scene in Ops here, where they're talking about like the Rubicon, and they're talking about with Dax? Like, what do you guys make of that scene?
I wasn't big on it. Like we got a new runabout. And, the way we keep going through runabouts, we're gonna need to. Good thing Earth has so many rivers, and I don't know. It's just like whatever. Like, why do you guys need runabouts? You guys got the Defiant now. Like it's.
Yeah, it is a little strange.
I don't know. They have to set the Rubicon up for something. I guess it's going to be coming up in maybe a few episodes, or I don't know. I can't remember what happened to the Rubicon ultimately.
Oh, it's right there. It's right behind me.
It probably blew up.
It probably
blew up. They all blow up.
They're
like,
up.
We go through runabouts like nothing. Like, why are you still sending them to him? They go through them quickly.
Okay, so then we get the scene here with Quark and he's walking to his airlock, and Rom kind of, tracks him down and says, "I'm coming with you," and they have a whole argument like, "No, I'm not." And
I gotta back it up though, Jeff. Yeah. I think we've missed a big character and introduction in this show.
What's that?
Well, Brunt.
Yeah, Brunt.
Brunt came in.
I don't care about Brunt. Sorry.
As a registered liquidator, it's my duty to present a formal list of the infractions committed.
She earned profit.
I think
Jeffrey
Jeffrey
Combs
does a really great job of making those two characters very different.
Yeah.
They have the exact same voice.
They do not.
Well, they do and they don't, because in this one he has these weird teeth in. But you can, to me, like Jeffrey Combs, I'm not sure. His voice to me, like I can't not hear it, right? I always know it's him. And he's also Shran in Enterprise. He's the Andorian, and I respect that all those characters are very different, but I always know it's him. Which I think
I didn't when I first watched this show, like when it first aired, I had no idea they were played by the same person until I rewatched it.
I think I have a thing for voices.
Is Wayon hasn't been introduced yet, right?
No.
So I mean, and he's played it, but he has played another character or maybe two already on DS9.
He played the guy
Creepy.
that's trying to get Kira
in the Holosuite.
Yeah.
Yes. So he's gonna come back in a lot of different roles in Star Trek, but this is kind of I didn't really even hear him as that character. I know it's him, but I kind of forget most of the time.
It's not like we're gonna get better Brunt later. Like this is kind of a flatter version of this character from what like the nemesis he will become to Quark, right?
Yeah.
And I always did enjoy the dynamic with him being like just like this seedy kind of IRS guy, but the Ferengis version, and showing all those bribes and things. I thought like that aspect of their society was very interesting, how they showed all those things, and they were including like these little like these greetings. Like,
remember, my house is my house.
As are its contents.
Please place your imprint on the legal waivers and deposit your admission fee in the box by the door.
Have we all noticed that this is sort of the way our society has become in real life?
It was kind of a horror story too, right? It was looking forward.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's definitely a lot of parallels. It's also if you look back in history too, like the Ferengi are basically based off like the Rockefeller kind of Wall Street giants of like the 1920s. Like that's what Armin Shimmerin said anyway. And I think it was on Regis and Kathy Lee back in the day. I think he was talking about that. So, which makes sense. But what do you guys make of the Ferengi? Like
the explanation,
right? Like they showed their planet, and I think this is the first time they've ever shown their planet like on Star Trek, where it's like it just looks like a really rainy. They have buildings and everything, but like they crawl. They have to bend down to get into their houses and stuff, and like just little things like this, where I'm just like, well, yeah, here it is. It kind of, I don't know what to make of it.
I loved this. When I saw this, is like the world building they were doing, showing us what Ferengi are, even if it was a brief thing, showing us their houses. I always found this stuff from an anthropological point of view fascinating. Like, what would alien cultures be like? How could they be different and similar? And what does it say about humanity? That's the whole fun about Star Trek. And so I like, even though it's like this really mucky world, hey, at least it's got something.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, what do the others think?
Kevin Ashley, tag team couple. What do you make of Ferenginar? Would you like to go?
I mean, no. I would have to be naked, so no.
I'd like to go.
You'll see Moogie and see how much time.
Moogie.
Well, I won't go to Moogie's house.
Just seems like it's raining all the time. The houses look a lot like Hobbit houses. It's got the round doors that they have to bend to get under, and it's fine.
But they're like smaller people.
I think, but why did they
still have to duck?
It's an intentional choice, though. It is kind of interesting to watch them walk through the doors and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it, I think it actually is part of like Ferengi. It adds to the Ferengi
way of life.
Yeah,
they probably didn't want to pay more for taller doors.
There was some great stuff they did in Babylon 5, Jeff, where the Drazi had this whole thing about their culture when they went to the Drazi homeworld.
Hey, that's a different show, a different time, and a different place.
You're about 4 hours too late.
We're back.
Yeah.
The shenanigans are over.
Speaking of shenanigans, how much do we love the scene where O'Brien is trying to break into Quark's, but he's trying to get through Rom's super convoluted security measures? Do you guys love that scene, Kevin and Ashley?
I do. I do. I like that Bashir throws him under the bus.
Yeah.
When Cisco is like, "How do you know?" He's like, "The chief told me."
Yeah. Yeah. A little payback there from
And I
Julie.
love that the chief security officer is just scanning them, watching them break into Quark.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. And
They're all lucky to still be alive.
we forgot that Quark went to Odo and say, "Hey, make sure you watch the bar for me."
That's
Like,
right.
Yeah.
what-
He's watching.
He's just like
people
there.
walk into the bar.
Yeah, he's like, "This is great."
Yeah, he doesn't
But it
care.
does establish Rom as a genius because even O'Brien can't break through his lock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Cisco comes by and he actually knows what it is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
showing that he has superior engineering knowledge to O'Brien again.
A little defensive, aren't they?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's what Cisco does. That's why he's the captain.
Not yet.
Well, he will be soon.
Soon, very soon, I think. But
Yeah.
oh, and we got to play it.
We never said it was a lucky dartboard. We just used to play on it, that's all.
We never said it was a lucky dartboard.
Yeah. He laid into his Irish accent.
Lucky?
On that one.
When you say lucky, say lucky.
Loki. Yeah, he almost says Loki when he says lucky.
We never said it was a lucky dartboard. We just used to play on it, that's all.
And I really appreciate that.
Okay, so then we kind of get the dynamic here between Rom and Quark of like how, Rom is the suck up and Quark is kind of like butts heads with his mother, even though they're more alike. And I think it's a great little family dynamic, I think, that they created for the show. I don't think they could have done this in season 1 and 2. I think that's why we get it in the 3rd season, because I don't think they knew what to do yet with Rom, with even a Moogie, and how to get Quark not to be just the barman and actually has a home life, a family life, an origin story, if you will. Jaemeel, do you like the dynamic? Do you like the dynamic
No.
of Quark and Rom and
No.
Moogie?
No.
Why not?
This episode, when you say that Renee directed it, I can see a lot of his career touch points kind of showcased, especially during this A-plot storyline. It is extremely like a sitcom, right? The whole thing is set up, the dynamics and how they play off of each other. It is very traditional sitcom type flavor, especially from the era where Renee was working a majority of his career. This just didn't play for me at all. Like, I understand, like, I'm coming to this with an understanding of these dynamics at play, so it's comfortable, but it just seems like a less evolved version, and a storyline that I don't necessarily care about. There's no stakes that I feel interesting in what's going on. I'm just trying to live out this episode and hold on for the Cisco stuff. This was not my episode at all.
Okay, and I don't always like the Ferengi episodes, but I do like this episode only for the scene that Dave was referring to earlier. I think it really works, and I think they did well to make this family drama Star Trek episode that has nothing to do with the Federation other than baseball.
Well, I also think I do enjoy Andrea Martin. I think this is the only time she played Ishka. I'm not sure. I mean, she may have come back one other time because it was taken over by another actor afterwards.
Okay.
Because Andrea Martin passed away of SCTV and other fame, I believe, right? SNL as well.
Yeah.
And just Rom, Max Grodenchak, who plays Rom, he is amazing in this episode. He is compared to where he started in this show to where what he pulls off in this episode. I think this is like almost his audition to like do more with Rom.
Yeah, be a
right?
regular series cast member probably going forward type thing.
Like he already kind of was at the he had earned a lot of keep here, but I feel like this, like, we get a lot of Rom centric stuff. Rom becomes pivotal to the war, Jeff.
Yes, he does. And again, I think Kevin's right. They are setting up that he's a genius a little bit with little things like a lock, a little different explanations. His son's going to Starfleet. there's all sorts of little clues to say like, okay, yeah, Rom is actually a really great engineer. He's probably a better engineer than both Cisco and O'Brien.
But he sucks at finance.
Yeah.
Right.
But guess what? He'll get to be Grand Nagus.
They, like, it's playing off what they already set up in, I think it was Armand Bashir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
with the transporter setup that he put through.
Oh yeah.
So once again, they're dropping the little bits. So I like, yes.
Yeah, I think Rom. I think you're right, Dave. In this episode, Rom is. I think this is a more Rom-centric episode than Quark even. I think it builds his character more.
Yeah,
and it shows that Rom, even though he's not a traditional Ferengi, that he has value, and that other Ferengis will see that. Like his mom sees that. His mom married someone just like him.
Yeah.
Right. Like
she makes a
Ferengis than just profit.
She makes a great point. Moogie does at one point where like they bring up that exact point that you just said, Kevin. That like, oh, so you think my father's useless, or you think Rom is useless, and she doesn't. She like specifically says to Quark, no, I didn't say it was bad. He's just different. He doesn't have the lobes for it or whatever, right? She, so Quark kind of initially takes it as an insult, but then Moogie has to kind of tell him that's not what she means by that, and then they actually communicate and understand each other a little bit more.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of that stuff is really powerful. I think people having this like idealized version of their parents, in this case his father, and everything else, and how it sort of paints his whole thing. And I think like the writers and Armin Shimmerman like to say like Armin Shimmerman's the main cast member here, and he's boosting up these like family members, these guest stars, at the expense of his character. Really, right?
Yeah.
But creating a richer tapestry of like this family that he can now have a subplot, because he's not in Starfleet. He's not part of those missions and that part of the show, right? So Quark has a whole other dynamic.
And he needs episodes like this. So when they go reference something like a Moogie, you know what that is, so like, yeah, I agree that he is selfless in this episode. He is propping up Rom and the Moogie character quite a bit. And he's taking all the punches. He's the he comes across like, oh, put your clothes back on and all that kind of stuff that he says to Moogie in this episode. He's the one taking the bullets so they can thrive.
I feel like that's what I felt like. Yeah, like I think like there was some, I don't know, like depending on who wrote this episode. It's Ira Steven Behr, right? So I feel like Ira Steven Behr and Armin Shimmerman, like I think they were pretty in sync with each other as they were going along, especially these Ferengi episodes, right? I think Ira Steven Behr really helped develop all that of any of the writing staff.
And this episode is sort of like a two-parter anyway. Like it's the beginning of Ishka's story and the women's rights and everything that goes forward from here on Ferenginar starts with this episode and becomes not a big part of the show, but big enough, Yeah,
big enough that there's some big cameos, like when she's with the Grand Nagus or whatever, and then that becomes a whole subplot as well.
We got a Ferengi episode without him.
I know that was the nice thing. That's why I think I like this episode more than almost anything for all the other Ferengi, because he's not there, and his voice, God bless him, but his voice is hard to take.
Soundboard. I do not have him on the soundboard.
It's hard to take for 40 minutes. I mean, he's tough.
I got to get at least one eventually, but I've never wanted to sample Wallace Shawn.
Wallace Shawn is awesome.
He is awesome, but not my favorite. That's why I don't watch Princess Bride all that often either.
But listen to the singing voices.
In England's green and
I was just on this one.
That was really beautiful, Chief.
That was very beautiful, Chief. Yeah, and they do get a fun moment. They're carrying things over very well, so much better, I think, than TNG ever did.
Right.
Where they have character moments with Julian and O'Brien here in an episode that has nothing to do with those two characters. They're just there to try and open a door, and we had to pay
them that week. They're on the stat. They're on salary. We got to build them in so many times per season.
Yeah.
But yes, but like I think totally they were we take it for granted now, I think sometimes with Deep Space Nine when we're rewatching it. But at the time, what they were the continuity and the more serialized nature of Deep Space Nine that you can see evolving in this third season, especially. Is really working. They're figuring out the actors and the writing staff. It's clicking more, and they're improving on this. Well, now TNG is off the air at this point, right? So now they have, and Voyager, I guess, is in the mix at this point.
But Voyager season 1, and they have no idea what the hell they're doing. They got Neelix and Kes palling around doing episodes that nobody's
they
watching.
Got Tom Paris with that turtleneck that's way too high.
Nobody started watching Voyager until like 7 came around. I think in mass quantities.
I feel like after a season, I feel like there was a new revival when the Borg storylines came along for them. Yes.
Yeah, the first I like the early stuff more. I think a lot of the episodes are better. We're not here to talk about Voyager, just like we're not here to talk about Babylon 5.
But we can reference them.
No, we can't.
Okay, so we haven't talked about Cassidy Yates and Sisko. Okay, so I believe they meet in a cargo bay. How fitting.
Yes.
After a lot of coercing.
Their relationship will come to a brief break also in a cargo bay.
Yes, that's where she gets arrested. And I think that's where they meet up again when she gets out of prison.
Yeah, it's like the cargo bay seems to be the spot.
She is a freighter captain, right?
That's true. And it makes, that is where you would go, I guess, to go see her. Okay, so they go talk about like Dave played the clip earlier about the second base thing, and then they get into
He was
baseball.
doing something called sliding into second.
That sounds like baseball.
That sounds like baseball.
It sounds like
Baseball? You know baseball?
It's
I know
my
baseball.
favorite sport. But no one has played it for 200 years. That's fantastic.
Okay,
How many teams are there?
I think they both get the William Shatner Award for overacting around this table. It is crazy.
What year is it like right now in Deep Space Nine? Like that this episode
2371.
2371. So that means in 2171, that's the end of baseball.
Baseball.
That's still a lot of baseball left
That's
to be
still
played.
a long time from now. None of us are going to live to see that.
That's so sad. I thought I always hoped I'd live to see that.
You live to see the death of baseball. Don't worry, it's gonna slowly happen.
Star Trek confirmed it, and they're never wrong.
Right.
I don't mean that people.
Yeah, Cassidy Yates. What's this thing in her hair in this first appearance? Did she always have this afterwards, or is this the only time? I can't remember. But scrunchy. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's very large.
It's very 90s. Like
Yeah.
whatever's going on here with the hair, it's 90s as hell.
It's her version of like a bone, like in the Flintstones.
It's like it's kind of like Betty Rubble-esque or something. So but okay, what do you guys? She's here. She was hyped up. She's here in this episode. She's finally debuted.
Right.
Do you like their relationship?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do, because I always thought that Sisko, it would never make sense for him to be in a relationship with someone else in service. Make no sense for him. Like, he's too much of a command person. Like, kind of like Picard. Like, you don't see them like the whole Crusher Picard thing like never worked for me in the same way. You know, it's just like, come on. Like, I don't know. For me, it didn't work. And I think the same thing with Sisko. It makes sense that it's like a freighter captain that's like coming in the station every now and again. That seems to work for me. What do you think?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Go ahead. Dave is excited to jump in.
Dave's excited to talk
No.
about
Sorry,
Yates.
I was excited, but yes, Jaemeel, go ahead.
Like, I like her in general. So this introduction is like, yes, finally, we're gonna do something with Sisko that doesn't necessarily revolve around Jake, right? Or the awkward old man. Jaco.
Jaco.
The awkward Dax sequences that we were getting when they're like, we need to show a softer side of Sisko for the last 3 seasons or 2 seasons and change.
Jennifer. Yeah.
Yes, that too. They kind of put Jennifer to rest, and it seemed that you wanted someone that had a little bit of fire, with them, that was charismatic, but but not too charismatic, right?
Yeah.
The way that they present her, she is very like, it's not heavy makeup like the previous Ghost. You
Oh no!
Oh no!
Did he freeze?
Okay. One of my favorite things about
interest
Cass.
that
Oh,
occurred
he caught up.
what seemed like forever ago. Okay, I'm like, what happened?
back.
I'm still here.
You froze there for a second.
You froze for a moment, and then you went like the Flash for a second.
Okay. The ghost interest that he had for an episode that just seemed really like it didn't look like it would gel or even be like a long-term type of situation. With Cassidy, it seems more realistic. She seems like an equal partner who will you would see a conversation. She's doing her old thing too, so she's not necessarily tied to him, right? And I don't think that would be good for him or the series or Jake, right? So
Right.
This is like a breath of fresh air. Like whenever you have like love interests that come onto a show, there's always the worry, like, is this gonna work out? Right? Is Ted Mosby gonna be stuck with another dud? Right? But like Cassidy is like, you're like, hey, I think we got a winner. This is it for the rest of the season. Right?
Well,
the rest of the rest of the series.
I especially like the way Avery Brooks plays Cisco's, like, kind of the whole thing with it. Like, he goes into the whole situation not really wanting to do it, and I think he's just doing it kind of as a favor to his son because his son's very excited about it. And it's not until the baseball comment comes up that he acts like a little kid and goes like, "You like baseball? I like baseball," and it's like
That
more
sounds
of a
like baseball.
I think the most important thing for Cisco was like, I need to be able to be friends with somebody first, and I think that baseball was the way. It was the vehicle for him.
I also think Cisco just resists this idea. I think her too. I think both their characters are set up. They don't like the idea of being set up.
Yeah.
Or being like a matchmaker, and who does? But I was set up on a blind date with my wife, and that worked out. So it did. I get a little bit for him too, really. But I think it's in character that he would be like not for this, and the fact that the whole like station personnel are in on it, like I don't know what we can psychoanalyze that, I guess, but I guess they just want him to be happy, right?
Well, just imagine if like your entire crew thinks you're thirsty and just underplaying it.
Yeah. Well, he's also their boss, right? Like, and they're like, you need your son's driving us nuts. We need to hook you up.
They don't really seem to care at this point that he's their boss, though.
Yeah.
He's never around. Like,
yeah. There you go.
A little defensive.
They're breaking in the shit. He's walking by. They're not even hiding it. Like.
They're trying to break into Quarks. Like, there's other things like on Cisco's mind, in like his crew knows it too. Like, there's a lot going on with like what was going on in the Mirror universe with like seeing Jennifer. Yeah. So
did he tell people that he slept with Dax
and Kira?
I don't think he did.
No, I don't think you tell people.
You don't think he would tell Dax?
He has to put that in his report, doesn't he? Is that like his obligation, or does he leave that out of the report?
Yeah, you're also not supposed to poison entire planets full of people, but
yeah,
sometimes too.
Commander, I said launch torpedoes.
You're a disgrace to the uniform.
You betrayed your uniform.
Okay, so let's get to the Ractigino conversation that we get between Cassidy and Cisco. What do you guys like?
I wasn't
that?
aware that you were a food critic.
Right. I wasn't aware either. What do you guys make of this little conversation they have over Ractigino? You guys remember what they talked about?
No, not at all. Did they talk about Ractigino?
No. Well, they did, and they talked about some torn ligaments, and I think her brother.
Well, yeah, it goes to because initially they're talking about Ractigino, and the conversation's kind of a dud. Yeah. And he's like, "You seem preoccupied." Huh?
Yes. Yeah, on Cestus 3. They really get into Cestus 3.
Yeah, the Cestus 3 reference, which is of course from the episode Arena. That's where Kirk and Spock they ran into the Gorn.
Yeah. That's where they play baseball with the Gorn.
Well, the Gorn were attacking that Federation colony, right? So I guess they've rebuilt that colony by this point.
That did not look like a good planet to play baseball.
Well, it had just been destroyed by Gorns.
Yeah.
Right.
But, you know, it's a big planet, presumably.
It just did look very flat. It was very hilly.
That part, but there was the Pike City Pioneers, and they were playing the Cestus something or others. What were they called, Cassidy?
The Cestus Comet.
Right. Like,
oh my god, it's sort of talking to his soundboard. This is not going to be good.
I didn't know anyone else liked baseball except me and Jake.
I didn't pull that as a clip, but yeah, it was. How many teams?
How many teams are there?
6.
Oh god.
Right. So then she invites him to a game to watch a recording of her brother's team playing the Pike City Pioneers or something.
Okay, and I get she's excited. I get like okay, so he's on the other side of the Federation, right? Takes 2 weeks just for a message to get there.
Right.
Right.
And they have a recording of a baseball game.
Yeah, and she's like, when I made this date with you for tomorrow at 6:00, I completely forgot that I had promised my brother that I would listen to his recording of his game at exactly this time. However, he's not going to know if I wait an extra hour to have a Rectagino with you. But I didn't know
8 hours late.
So he won't know that I made this date either. So it was just kind of I felt like she was trying to get out of it. I felt like she was still, you know, until he goes, that sounds like baseball. That she was like, no. I guess that's how marriages happen, right? They have something in common.
Yeah.
I think that's how a lot of times how things happen. Yes.
Did Jaco know about the baseball connection?
Jaco.
Do you think the Hungarian goulash helped?
Paprikash.
Paprikash.
He was doing something called sliding into second.
This show is going to end up devolving into Dave and his soundboard.
He'll be able to do the podcast just by himself.
Yeah, I'll just be able to have all these characters talk to each other.
Yeah.
It can't go.
Miles.
It's just going to remix every episode into different conversations.
Yeah, it's just gonna. You betrayed your uniform. You're God. Like, yeah, just go back to back to back.
You betrayed your uniform!
Yeah, that would be fun.
Oh, dear.
Oh my god.
Okay.
I need a strong drink to continue this recording.
Come for me.
Is there any more to really kind of break down with the episode itself? I feel like we've pretty much covered everything.
Plot wise, yes. I think what's there to say? Like in some ways, I feel like the A storyline with Quark is a little too long, if anything. You know, I agree with Jaemeel. I don't dislike it like as much as Jaemeel does, but it's like a sitcom because I think they were trying something very different in this version of Star Trek, and I respect it. You know, and just the whole like this is like a completely different way of thinking about life and culture and societies and how to interpret that. So that part I like, but it's long. I feel like more of this Cisco stuff actually, or something else. Maybe even a C storyline could have helped.
If they had a like an Odo, Bashir O'Brien C storyline was more involved with the breaking into Quarks or something like that, I think that would have been fun.
Lita's at the bar, just waiting there with the lights off or something. I don't know, because at this point, Lita and Bashir are dating.
And she met Lita. We had the introduction of Lita, I think in the last episode, right?
Yeah, at the beginning of the last episode. So they weren't dating yet.
Right. I don't know if I have her. Do I? No.
You didn't pull any Lita sound clips from.
All the way when she shows up, like the cough for me is when he met her.
Cough for me. Bring me a finale and toddy. Very hot.
I'm surprised there isn't memes of just like, hey, I got that report for you. Here it is. Go away.
Go away. The go away pad was the best.
Yeah,
I tried so hard to get a clip of that or a visual. But long story short, I can't anymore. With Netflix has like a filter now. You can't like take screenshots on your browser unless I can figure a way around that. But I digress.
Yep. Okay, well, we are just about ready for Double F with Jeff. Are you ready? Is the question. Okay,
Um,
Dave. Very important. We have a 47 reference alert. Boop, 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 boop. 47 reference.
Oh my God, no.
Commander Sisko begins saying, quote, "If you want any suggestions, I'll be in cargo bay," and O'Brien finishes Sisko's sentence with 4, to which Sisko responds 7. Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Shame on you.
So was it Cargo Bay 47, or were they? He was saying he meant 7 and he meant 4.
It's a 47 reference, and unless
It's not a 47 reference. It's he meant 4, he meant 7. That does not make 47.
Don't know if you know how numbers work, Dave. But it went 4 and then 7. That's a 4-7. Okay, this show's originated from Ira Steven Behr's desire to do a more serious Ferengi episode than had ever been seen in Star Trek up to this point, and both cast and crew feel that Behr succeeded in the same. Armin Shimmerin calls it a very heartfelt psychological study. That's what, so that's what Armin Shimmerin said.
I think that's all fair. I think what they did here was mostly good. I think, net positive, but I don't know how much entertainment I have of it now in 2021.
Okay, so just in case you thought Wallace Shawn had nothing to do with this episode, you were wrong. Ishka's headpiece for this episode was based on that worn by Wallace Shawn as Zek, and was designed to look almost caricature-like, with drooping lobes and large jowls. For the scene where her knees are seen, makeup supervisor Michael Westmoreland even designed drooping kneecaps. For the shot where her shoulders and the top of her chest were exposed, Westmoreland didn't have time to create a proper foam latex appliance, so he rubberized Kleenex and wrinkled it, laying it across Andrea Martin's shoulders and on the upper portion of her chest. According to Westmoreland, Martin was not amused by the makeup. No shit. Like, they put paper mache on your chest. I don't think I'd be amused either. Moogie. Okay. Moogie. Okay. Yeah. Cassidy mentions her brother lives and plays baseball on Cestus 3, which has previously appeared in the original series Arena. The fact that there was once again human colonists living on the planet suggests the Federation and the Gorn finally
the
put
Gorn Confederacy in some versions,
or it says hegemony here, but okay,
hegemony.
Yep. Finally put aside their differences in the interim between the two episodes. The baseball team he plays for is called the Pike City Pioneers, presumably named after the character of Christopher Pike from the original Star Trek The Cage. Okay.
We can't infer that the Pike City Pioneers are named after Christopher.
Dave, I don't know if you know how fun facts work.
The Pike City Pioneers.
That's what that means. This episode features the first appearance of 3 characters. Cassidy Yates, Ishka, and Brunt. It also features the first appearance of Ferenginar and first reference to the FCA, the Ferengi Commerce Authority.
FCA. I love that reaction too in the beginning of the episode where they're like, "Close the bar! The FCA is here."
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's kind of like the TVA. Okay. The new runabout USS Rubicon is given its name in this episode, replacing the USS Mekong, which was destroyed at the Battle of the Omarion Nebula. Omarion? I don't know.
The Omarion Nebula. That was how was it destroyed?
I don't know. It just was in the battle. Quark's mother saves his old childhood action figures, which happen to be redressed Ferengi action figures from Playmates TNG action figure line of the mid-90s. Quark's figures would make another appearance in the 5th season, Ferengi Love Songs.
The Rubicon didn't get destroyed.
No, we weren't talking about the Rubicon. We were talking about the Mekong.
I know, but the Rubicon replaced the Mekong.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. The grubs that Rom serves for dinner are actually mealworms. They were first used in the TNG episode Conspiracy and many other episodes to represent the Klingon dish Gok.
There you go. They all like to eat the bugs.
All right. Quark's family home on Ferenginar has a round hobbit-like front door. The author's foreword to Ira Steven Behr and Robert Hewitt Wolf's Book of Legends of the Ferengi is filled with Lord of the Rings references, and they appear to be avid J.R.R. Tolkien fans. So this might have been an intentional homage. So you're right, Ashley. Jeffrey Combs has the distinction of portraying 8 different characters on Star Trek. He has played the roles of Brunt, Wayun, Shran, T-Ron, Kevin Mulcahy?
Kevin Millard?
Kevin Mulcahy? I don't even know how to say it. That's a weird name. Pank, Krem, and a Holosuite guest. He is one of only 5 actors to play 7 or more different characters in Star Trek. The others being Randy Oglesby, J.G. Hertzler, Vaughn Armstrong, and Thomas Kopachi. Coincidentally, Combs has appeared on Star Trek with all 4 of those actors.
Ethan Phillips has also played quite a few characters.
Yeah. The style of Cisco's goatee is considerably thinner and less noticeable in this episode compared to how it appeared in the previous episode.
Huge improvement.
That goatee last week was like, pull it back.
Well, he had to grow it out like thick first before they could do it. So that was the whole thing. He had to go real full hawk before they could trim him back. This style would be continued for the remainder of the series. One of a precious few depictions of a female Ferengi in any Star Trek series. Yeah, they don't really show them very often because I guess they're supposed to be nude most of the time. Okay, a deleted or unfilmed scene saw Sisko and Jake walking together on the promenade while they discuss Sisko's upcoming date with Cassidy. Jake is excited but claims that Coffee doesn't give much time for his father and Yates to get to know one another. Morin approaches, but before he can speak, Sisko reassures him that he will be the first to know if any news comes in. Jake attempts to prepare Sisko for the date as they turn a corner. Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking too that considering like Jake has a role in this setup, he's barely in this episode.
Yeah, I guess so. They did have a scene, and they probably should have put it in, but I guess they chose a Ferengi scene over that, which I can understand. Andrea Martin's only appearance as Quark and Rom's mother, Ishka, in the series. The role was taken over by Cicely Adams, Dawn Adams' daughter, in 4 subsequent episodes.
Dawn Adams of like Get Smart?
I think so, yeah. Ironically, Mel Green was synchronized by a woman in the German version. This is very important, Dave. But the secretary was a male, and also Ferengi woman charged with earning profit. Okay. German version. The always comes up on here. Okay, we only got a couple more. Cessus 3, the colony where Cassidy and his brothers live, was claimed by the Gorns in the original series, and Andrea Martin, Ishka Quark's mother, is only 2 years older than Armin Shimmerin. And that's it.
I just was looking up Cecily Adams, who takes over the role of Ishka, the daughter of Dawn Adams, and was also married to Jim Beaver, who was Bobby Singer on Supernatural,
saving people, hunting things, the family business.
Right, and she died in 2004, actually too, when she was married to him. She did some stuff. She did a lot of stuff. So anyway, we're not talking about she wasn't even in this episode, but Cicely Adams. When next time we get Ishka,
you're ready
too. And Andrea Martin, I think really strong in this episode. Is she still alive? Andrea Martin? I always thought she had passed away. Is she not dead?
I don't know. I don't think.
She didn't like the makeup, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm done."
Is that what happened?
Maybe. If she's still alive, that would be.
She is still alive. I thought she was dead.
Yeah, she did. She did my big fat Greek wedding after it, didn't she?
I think so. But it's the other one. The other Ishka's dead, and she took over.
So if
she
comes back again, she can play.
Yes. I get she could come back and do it, but she only did this once.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Quark shows up on Picard season 3, and Ishka could be on it. There you go. Book it.
Probably more expensive to get Andrea Martin.
Too. They got that premium money. They got that Paramount Plus money now.
Okay, Dave, let's get on over to the ratings.
Let's talk about that. What do I do here? Stop video.
We don't need any details discovered by Dave. Triple D's.
Well, we don't need them, but you can still get them. Jeff, where does Family Business rank for you?
For me, it's like a 6.7, something like that.
Okay, I'm a higher on this. I'll go at least 7.8.
6.1.
Okay. Ashley?
I'm an 8.
If you know off your any of the weeks you've missed, you want to throw those in there.
I am
Feel free.
also 8.
8. Why is that not? You're also an 8. Okay, I just want to see what that averages out. I don't know why that's not working. I'll fix that later. Okay. Format. Yeah, there we go. Haha, Excel. All right. And so our average was 7.3, which is exactly what the IMDb average is. So the average of those two is also 7.3. Fun fact.
You know how numbers work.
No, that's
If you know how numbers work.
a detail discovered by Dave. Those are not fun.
They're less fun, but they are detailed. Anyway, we got Rene Auberjonois, as mentioned, directing this, and we call it a quirk for the Cisco E storyline. So what's next, Jeff, on Deep Space 99?
That's a good question. I have that up. One second. It's Shakar.
Oh.
No.
You guys excited?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Shakar?
Tune in next week for Shakar.
Who's better, Bareil or Shakar? And why the answer is neither.
Shakar.
Yeah, because Bareil didn't die that long ago, right?
No, and she moved on quick. It's a quick rebound for Kira.
Yeah, he died in Distant Voices, right? That was episode 18. This is episode 24 coming up, so 6 episodes later. We gotta get the new, because they saw him in Sub Rosa, Jeff.
Right.
Duncan Regeer.
Right. He's back.
Zorro himself.
I don't care.
Zorro.
He's one of the least. I every time he's on the screen in Deep Space Nine, I've watched the show quite a few times. I'm like, who's that again? Oh, it's that guy. I'm like, why does this guy matter in any way? He doesn't. That's the answer.
Canada's own Duncan Peter Regeer.
His character is so inconsequential to like the entire storyline that I don't even know why. Like, I don't know. He sucks. He's just.
I don't even for a second believe that he was the leader of one of the most formidable resistance cells.
He's not cool enough. He's lame. He's like a bad politician.
He's like a lame Chakotay, and Chakotay's pretty lame.
Yeah, Chakotay's really lame. Hey, can I not be the bad guy?
Because they were going for
Chakotay.
like, I'm a peaceful warrior who just fights for noble justice.
Kuchimoya.
Yeah, Kuchimoya.
Far from the bones of our ancestors. Yes.
Hold on, Chakotay.
Kuchimoya.
He's not
Kuchimoya. We are.
I like Janeway's way better. Just the way she says Akuchimoya, she really pronounces it. I love it.
Kuchimoya.
If I go to a convention anytime in the next couple of months and she is there, like the question I'm going to ask her is to say it.
Yeah.
Can you say it, Kuchimoya, and say it like you did that?
Yeah, say it like you did in your captain's log.
Kuchimoya. We are far from the sacred places of our grandfathers and from the bones of our people. But perhaps there is one powerful being who will embrace this good crew and give them the answer they seek.
Perhaps.
The way the music swells at the end too is so great. Like, you know, Kate Mulgrew must have like seen that back and was like, "That's so bad. That's so cheesy." Like, you know,
it's like whatever you guys do not put that in my acting clip. Like, montage, please.
Kuchimoya.
They don't teach that at the academy.
They don't. They don't.
Oh my god.
Okay, well, Dave, what do we have coming up? I know we have Big Brother coming up. We already did our draft.
We did our draft, Jeff. That's right. And starting tomorrow night for 13 weeks, Jeff, Jaemeel, and I are going to be talking about Big Brother USA season 23. Here are the 16 revealed house guests that are coming in. I got Xavier and Frenchie. Who do you got, Jaemeel?
Sorry. I got Azur and I got, what was it, Christian.
And Jeff,
Sarah,
you have two.
and Hannah.
Sarah and Hannah. Who do you like, Kevin and Ashley?
Nobody.
Yes.
Nobody and nobody watches. Don't care. That's
And we get big views on our Big Brother podcast.
It's the only thing people watch that we do.
They watch it way more than our Star Trek podcast.
Yeah.
Come on, you kidding me? Like that's where we promote Star Trek podcasts.
It's Big Brother.
It's Big Brother because these audiences are clearly connected through us.
Through us.
We're going for a very niche audience of people who all like Big Brother and also like Star Trek.
A Venn diagram.
That
It's
is
a Venn diagram. That's our audience.
Yeah, it's a
And
small,
like trivial
Just a
debate
lonely
shows.
circle on the outside of that for Babylon 5 fans.
It's a really small circle.
That's like 3 people, Kevin. I mean,
No, that's a huge Venn diagram with lots of Babylon 5 fans crossing over.
Dave, if a Babylon 5 movie came out like next month, how would it do in the box office? Like, would anyone go? Like, even if it was cool.
Even if it was cool.
Even if it was cool.
I hope so. Like, I don't know, but
How many
I
times
think
would you go and see it?
I would go see it. Like, I would, for sure, I would go see it at least once.
He saw Cats in theaters.
Yeah.
I didn't see Cats, but that was more for like the train wreck factor. That may be the last thing I ever see in theaters, for all we know. But
well, Black Widow comes out a couple days.
Black Widow, I'm watching that at home though.
Oh yeah. Well,
No, I'm gonna be back in the theater eventually. But it's like it's what are we on? Big Brother? Big Brother. Check it out.
check it out.
Start Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern after the 90-minute premiere. Plus, we'll be doing Sunday, Wednesday, and Thursday covering Big Brother season 23. So check that out if you're into that show. Plus, we also here on Live Long and Podcast on Monday nights now. Mondays, we got the original series. Join the changes as we move from Wednesdays to Mondays. Yes, I got them to make you this sign and pose for this photo.
Time travel.
Pretty impressive, huh? Yeah. So check that out on Mondays. We talk about the original series.
Right. What else we got, Dave?
What else? We also have our show Trivial Debates, where we argue about movie, TV, sports, and more. We just had our last episode hosted by Adam Woodward, and also included Jody Simpson, newcomer Mike O'Connor, and Chris Seymour. Check that out if you haven't already. Plus, our next monthly episode coming up with Mike O'Connor is named. We'll be hosting, and we have Adam Woodward and Jody in. There's a third spot open. I'm waiting for confirmation of a text.
I'll just tell you now. I'll do it. Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
I haven't been on
it here. It's on the air. It's on recording.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. You got proof.
You proof. So Jeff Mader will be the third contestant for our July edition of Trivial
Send me the
Debates.
cues. Send me the cues, and I'll give you the A's.
That's what's gonna happen. So that will be on July 25th. We're gonna be doing that episode. And Star Trek Radio Theater, which is our other part of Live Long and Podcast, is on hiatus at the moment. But check out the whole back catalog, and we've done almost 40. I think we did 40 episodes already of that. Plus, we'll be back in the near future. And next month, Star Trek Lower Decks, Jeff. Woo! Coming back.
Oh, is that next month? Okay. Well,
Yeah, August. Yeah.
that'll be fun.
Can't wait.
Yeah, and not far behind that, I believe. I don't know if we'll get Picard, but I guess we'll get Picard before Discovery.
Well, I don't care when we get Picard. I mean, that when that comes, that's just gonna be like, it's either gonna be good or it's gonna be like season 1 all over again. I'm worried.
Well, we're gonna find out. Hopefully they're gonna course correct in more ways than one. And Discovery season 4, I'm ready for. Season 3 is left me wanting to get back to it.
Brave New Worlds as well. Strange New Worlds.
New Worlds. And Star Trek Prodigy, I guess, is somewhere in the horizon too, right? So the Nickelodeon children's show with the
Dave, please don't tell me you're covering that.
We're covering it. It's Star Trek. We got to cover it. This is the ESPN of Star Trek.
It's not, but
we're building it up.
We're not ESPN.
Well, we're like a startup.
Yeah, right. Okay.
That's what's going on in the podcast empire.
That's what's going on. Thanks, Dave, for the update. Anybody else have anything that they want to plug? Kevin, especially you. Do you have anything? Twitter handle, Instagram? What's going on with you?
Nothing.
Jaemeel?
Please.
I would like to plug Eamon's podcast, which is
yes,
Dave's son. It's called
Let's talk about fighting games.
Yes, it was right on the tip of my tongue.
That's right.
Let's talk about. So check out your local, wherever you listen to podcasts. Please check them out. We made a mistake. We didn't mention it in our Super Mater Brothers podcast that we had on Sunday. So
Dave, what's
please check it out.
Dave, what is Davin's podcast?
Davin's podcast is called Locutors of Trek, which that's our second cousin, Davin Skellhorn, who joined us on these last 2 weeks here on, or 2 or 3 weeks, I guess it was, here on Live Long and Podcast, helping to fill in where Kevin and Ashley. His podcast really good, interesting. It's done with his friend Dave, who is a musician as well. So sometimes they jam, sometimes they talk Trek, but they're really funny, and they bring a lot of intellectual analysis into the Star Trek discussion. So I'm check out their podcast. I'm looking forward to collaborating more with Davin in the future.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Dave. For all of us here at Deep Space Nine at 9ish, this has been season 3. Episode 23, Family Business. Until next week.